Hi, Trevor here, reflecting on live stream music. Thank you for stopping by. Well, coming again today, you're very, very welcome. I trust you enjoyed my last request actually on Aussie band Axiom. We looked at the song My Baby's Gone, which is a combination of being in a relationship and freedom, and the grass not always being greener on the other side. So I trust you found that one encouraging. Well, I continue on with Distinctly Australian today. This story started in 1973 in Melbourne. Chris Stockley, who was part of that last band Axiom, on lead guitar, Roderick Smith on vocals, John Strangio, who would be replaced by John Boyce on bass, and Kerry Tolhurst on guitar mandolin. These guys very much country rock and roll, and full of Aussie themes and imagery. In fact, the Dingoes, who we're talking about today, were one of the very, very early signings for fledgling label Mushroom Records. Of course, they went on to be very, very influential in Australia. And they kind of shot to a bit of stardom pretty well straight away with the song Way Out West. Now, we don't always know until we start digging where these videos are going to go. But as I was looking at Way Out West, I was trying to remember the movie where there's a whole heap of people singing and sort of being community. And then I remember that movie in 2011, Red Dog. Now, distinctly Australian, this movie, in many, many ways, but there's just so much to love about this character, this dog, this Pilbara. So we're talking about the far, I suppose, northwest of Australia, the Pilbara region, and this guy was known as the Pilbara Wanderer. Well, the song Way Out West was to feature in this particular movie. So I thought what I'd do today is actually, let's talk about the movie Red Dog, because if you haven't seen it, it's absolutely stunning. If you haven't seen it and you want to see it, turn this video off right now and go and watch it first. But if you have seen it, you know where this movie's going, or if you don't mind, we're going to look at this story a little bit and what this makes this so uniquely Australian, and why this song Way Out West really, really just captures the essence of this movie. So when we're talking about the Pilbara region, we are talking about Way Out West. Now, a couple of the lines in this song: I left my job and I left my wife. I went out west to find a new life. It's big out here, lurking, working and living on the land. Now, the story of Red Dog was very much about a mining community. The guys that very and truly did that. They wanted freedom, and they went and mined for Hammersley iron. And the story of Red Dog is all about this community, the characters in the community, lots of quirky characteristics, and this dog. This dog becomes a critical part of this community in many, many ways. But what typifies the Pilbara region is the freedom. And also loyalty, looking after your mates, because you actually are in such a remote part of the world that you have to look out for each other as well. And Red Dog just had the way of just being in the right place at the right time to bring people together. He typified, and we'll get onto a video later in the series which just typifies just typifies who this dog was. So we have a couple of significant characters. The first one is John. Now, John was the bus driver. John was the one that used to cart people to and from the mining site. Now, of course, the story goes that every dog desires a master. And who was going to be the master of this free dog? Well, John would become the master. And there's a great little video of the meeting. Red Dog is being very, very disruptive indeed. He's not really caring what John thinks, and John and him grow to have a respect for each other. So I got the clip of Red Dog meeting John. Enter Nancy. Now, Nancy is, I suppose, a woman. First of all, a woman in the Pilbara region is pretty tough existence. But she goes and takes a job for Hammersley Iron, and she well and truly makes a scene when she gets on the bus. Now, she's a very attractive girl, this one, and all the guys are thinking, well, hang on a minute, this is a bit different. And they all sort of move over to let her sit next to him, but of course she looks at the dog. And the dog says the dog isn't going to give up his seat for her. He says, and after a bit of altercation between the two of them, he gives up the seat. Everyone goes, right, whoa. So anyway, we get into a bit of, I suppose, community building with the dog, and Nancy and John get together, and there's a nice, beautiful scene where Nancy and John in front of the community, which is what you do in this day and age, announce they're going to get married. And it's a very, very beautiful scene, that one, of love, companionship, friendship, and just the wilderness of the place. So we've got the clip of Nancy and John's engagement. But much to the shock, I think, of this movie, and this is a bit of a spoiler coming up here, and that is that John loved this motorbike. He loved the freedom, like all of the other guys that lived in the Pilbara region. He loved the freedom, and so he went out riding like he normally did, and he wasn't rocking up to work. Nobody knew where he was, and in typical mateship fashion, they go out and try and find it, and they discover a kangaroo on the road and a motorbike in the ditch. There's more to this story than that. So John, unfortunately, did die at this point. And there was a story. Then we get into Nancy having to be told, the community being told, and all the rest of it. Very, very poignant part of the movie, but it even gets more poignant than that, trust me here. So, as they reflect on John and what he meant to the community, this song "Way Out West" does actually feature at this point. Now, "Way Out West" was again the Dingoes, a massive song, and as they're reflecting on John and reflecting being on together, this song gets put on the jukebox, and the next minute everybody is singing, and everybody is actually just really enjoying being together. But of course, what was happening to Red Dog at this point? Red Dog didn't realise what had happened. No, this was an enduring partnership or enduring friendship between dog and master. And you see at this point that Red Dog actually leaves the community, and what he ends up doing in the next clip is he travels all around the region looking for John. There's a beautiful, I suppose, narration of the journey. One of the things that Red Dog would do is he would just hop on and off trains, and sometimes trains would actually wait for him to hop on. He would go all over the Western Australian Northern Territory region. So he embarked on that journey looking for his master. He didn't know what had happened to John. And so there's a bit of a clip way out west, and also a bit of a journey of Red Dog looking for John. And so we got travelling the Pilbara region. Well, it gets discovered a little bit down the track that Red Dog also had gone missing. In I suppose in the tragedy of John's death, people have forgotten about Red Dog. And so then we got the clip of them looking for Red Dog. And you can see the passion, the panic, the camaraderie, the mateship, all of the stuff that made Red Dog an absolute part of this community. And they couldn't find him, they couldn't find him, and they couldn't find him. You ready for this next bit? Well, they do find him. I'm just tearing up thinking about this scene because when you hear where Red Dog ends up. So the scene unfolds as a phone call saying we found him. And so Nancy, who in a sense became Red Dog's kind of owner, well not owner but master, there's a group gathered around John's grave. and right next to the grave is Red Dog. Red Dog did eventually find his master. Red Dog decided that his time was done. And it was at that point that Red Dog died, right next to his master John. Such a poignant part of the movie, that amongst all of the freedom and the wandering this dog actually did, the Pilbara wanderer, they find him next to his master John. A very, very poignant moment indeed in this movie, and you know, you wouldn't have expected. First of all, you didn't expect John to die, and secondly, you didn't expect Red Dog to actually do the looking there for it. He did, and next, you didn't expect him to be down dead next to his master. So, a very, very, very heartwarming, I suppose, tragic, but emotional part of the movie is when those two are reunited in death. And what do you do in that situation? Well, you know, you respectfully bury him. So we've got the clip of Red Dog being found. How do you respond to a story like this one? Well, then it came down to, well, somebody decided to immortalise, commemorate the region with some of the early founders of the Pilbara region. And, you know, we don't want a politician, we don't want an early settler who was only here for 20 minutes. And they sing the Red Dog's praises. They talk about the guy who knew them, knew love, had red dust up his nose, knew the region, knew the community, brought the community together, and it was only right that the statue would be of Red Dog. So we got the clip of that particular speech, which is absolutely a beautiful way for the movie to finish. Now you might be thinking at this point, was the Red Dog story real? Well, I think there's a bit of poetic license certainly taken with the community, the Pilbara community, but the fact that we had this dog that did travel around the Pilbara region is absolutely true. And it was great to just have a little bit of a look on YouTube and to see that there is actually a statue of Red Dog, the Pilbara wanderer, and we've just got a bit of a video clip of that for you, just to show that this actually is a true story. The dog absolutely existed. And as you can see, I'm a little bit teary today because it's just this sort of movie. I think, you know, even if you've never watched it, just watch it because it's absolutely brilliant. You know, this video only does so much to actually really bring it to life. Yeah, it is a true story. The dog is real, absolutely, and I'm sure the aspects of the community are also real as well. The part of the world that he actually travelled around, that actually exists as well. Yes, it is a remote, barren part of the world, but rich in iron ore, absolutely. And so, yeah, a little bit today because I'm just a little bit teary about the story because it's just really, really moving and touching. And so it's good to be able to reflect on this iconic Australian movie today and the iconic Pilbara Wanderer. And who would have thought that this Dingoes song would have featured so prominently in this movie as the thing that would actually really typify this movie, this character and this community. And so it's great to be able to, I think, focus on bringing this song to life, which is what Red Dog absolutely did. Well, back to the Dingoes. In 1975, so they had a massive song with this one. They got signed to Mushroom. The US came calling. Oh, actually, in 1974, out came the first release, the Dingoes. And in 1975, they went to the US, and they actually got a 2-album deal with Axiom Records. And so they went to the US. It didn't go as well as they would have liked. It was a little bit of a frustrating for them time. They had a little bit of success, but it didn't really capture America's imagination as much as they would have liked. But they were granted green cards, and that meant that they could travel between Australia and the US freely. In 1977, they released 5 Times the Sun, and in 1979, Orphans of the Storm. In 2009, they were inducted into the ARIA Hall of Fame, so the Australian Record Industry Association Hall of Fame, and they were well and truly a beloved band in Australia, considered one of our best as far as their tightness and their harmonies and everything else. The Dingoes were the all-round outfit, and to be country rock and to just immortalise Australia, which these guys did so well. It's good to give these guys a bit of a go today. Because of the induction to the ARIA Hall of Fame, they did do a bit of a reunion tour, and we got a live version from 2010 of Shine a Light. And the thing I love about this particular song is that this typifies not only the Way Out West story, but the Red Dog story in so many ways, that it is Shine Its Light. And you just think, obviously, dogs are dogs, and they do have a way about them, but I think the honesty, the love, the loyalty, the freedom, all of the elements that made Red Dog is what endeared him to his community. Apparently he became a member of a couple of sporting clubs. There was a bank account opened in his name as well. So he's well and truly a beloved character in Australian mythology, history, and history, absolutely. And so Shine the Light just really seems a fitting song to finish off the tribute to not only the Dingoes, Way Out West, but also Red Dog as well. So the links to those 11 clips are in the description below, and I've also included my last video from Axiom. If you want to recap on them, feel free. Well, if this is your first time to Life Reflections through Music, or you've come back for another one, I trust everybody's well, and thank you for doing so. Next time we're going to get on to a girl that represented Australia at Eurovision, Dami M. So until then, I'll catch you around. Bye for now.